that's gonna be fun with the short form content. Angry Irish people. Oh, okay. So April saw the release of the Irish Famine, and there was some discourse. I knew going in this would be the case. So in other videos I've talked about the unexpected request that came out of the blue, and the original video I put up on Instagram where I played the song that I wrote on acoustic guitar in my room actually went over very well. I was really surprised at the initial positive reception that it got. It was only later on that I started having people pop into the comments saying that the famine was actually a genocide, and being a bit more critical of the song. After Spirit of London became quite a successful song, after looking at songs like Birmingham Bin Strike and Sycamore Gap and thinking, you know what, I really like these songs and I want to make an EP, I knew I wanted Irish Famine to be part of this. I knew I was going to record it as a full-on song and release it, and I knew that that would at least create some conversation. Now, that's not me being cynical. I haven't made the song a song, you know, a recording for the sake of engagement. I genuinely like the song. And I think that was a big thing throughout this process of promoting the song. So my first question was, how am I going to promote it, right? Birmingham Bin Strike, I dressed up as a bin man and I moved bins around, and that was a lot of fun. That content did really well. Sycamore Gap was less successful. I couldn't think of anything better than having myself as a hiker trying to visit the tree, and I don't think that worked. That song did flop a little bit. The content flopped massively. I figured with the Irish Famine, I can't just dress up as a farmer and film myself keeling over. So I figured just lean into it. You know what I mean? Hey, I wrote a song about the Irish Famine. One video even went as far as to be like, when you're asked to write a song about the Irish Famine, you probably shouldn't do it. I knew what I was getting into with this sort of content, but at the end of the day, I want my music to be heard and I want it to get out there. And alluding back to what I was saying earlier, I knew that throughout the entire process, I had to stand up for the song. This is my art. Now, if you want to argue that I was mistaken or I was naive, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I know I wrote the song from a good place. Even if it was misguided, I wrote the song from a genuine place. And frankly, I can go to sleep at night with that understanding and that knowledge. The discourse was interesting because there would be some that frankly were full-on xenophobic, right? Oh, British people are all ignorant and stuff like that, and these generic claims that just aren't on, they're not acceptable. But I think when these people flat out insult you, they kind of out themselves. I think they demonstrate the kind of people that they are. Frankly, they're also people that were never going to get into my music anyway. There were, and also I had a hilarious interaction with someone on one of the videos where I was very open and frankly gracious with this person. I was like, look, in my research, it didn't sound like a genocide, and I want to know where you're coming from with that. And he goes I don't need to explain Irish history to you. It's like, okay, great. That doesn't help me out, does it? And thankfully there were some people that came along and just, assertively, but, outlined, actually, it isn't just, the Brits are demanding trade from Ireland. They're coming in with guns and they're forcing crops out of Irish people's hands. And that's a moment that gave me pause for reflection. And it's Vince, I'm aware of the evils of the British Empire, but at the same time, it's you didn't really think it to that extent. And, you stop and you think about it, and it's well, yeah, of course that's what happened. So I appreciate that. At the same time, though, I assert that the song acknowledges that Ireland was part of the United Kingdom. It almost celebrates Irish independence by the end of it. Because even when I did my research, I'm yeah, I wouldn't want to be part of the UK either. If this had happened to my country and my people. It was really important for me at every step of the way, though, not to apologise, because I don't want to undermine my art. And I stand by that. There was also a humorous comment. Someone wrote something along the lines of, "Don't worry, Partridge, you'll bounce back in the end." Now, this guy couldn't help but still put the kind of thinly veiled insult in there, an allusion to the bumbling fictional character of Alan Partridge, played by Steve Coogan. That's not the first time people have compared me to him. I get it. I sound a certain way. I have a certain vibe. Maybe it comes across slightly awkward. It's just my personality. I can't do much about it. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. You know, but we are who we are at the end of the day. But he said you'll bounce back in the end. And it's really funny because, honestly, the whole crisis of this, PR nightmare, as someone put, really lasted that initial weekend. That initial weekend, the Friday through Sunday when the song came out, there was a lot of heated comments, a lot of animosity, a lot of stuff bouncing back. I did engage with some of it. Unapologetically, if I'm honest. But I think also with grace, and we'll come to this in a second actually, by the time the sort of Monday or the Tuesday rolled around, most of them had gone. Now some I had to block myself because they were being genuinely insulting and like really nasty. But others would just sort of like, whatever. We can't convince this guy. Let's just go. Leave him to, you know, fail on his own terms or whatever they're thinking, you know. Great, like, that's fine. You know, at the end of it, the people that, I don't know, look into it a little bit deeply or are willing to explore it or see the positive side, however you want to phrase it, those people will stick around, right? And I appreciate those people. I did have one person, because I posted it on my story, Instagram story, while promoting a gig that I was playing. And he put like, "I can't believe you're still promoting this. I hope the engagement was worth it." And it's like, honestly, Spirit of London got a lot more streams and a lot more positivity. Like, there was some pushback, but not a lot. That song was much more worthwhile, if we're talking purely in terms of the numbers, compared to Irish Famine. So my focus in terms of marketing the EP is going to be much more on Spirit of London and Birmingham Bin Strike, because I've had a much more positive experience with those tracks. There'll probably be the odd post promoting Irish Famine, but it's going to be much further and far between. I won't go into too much detail right now. This is something I will talk about down the line. Something very, very big happened in my personal life, literally about a week after the song came out. And there was this period where I lost a lot of motivation doing social media posts. Some of you who are quite engaged, some of you who watch a lot of my content, you might have noticed this. There was just a point where the videos became a lot lower effort and they were a lot fewer and far between. I just had to kind of get through what I was going through in my personal life, and the motivation's coming back now, I'm happy to say. And come the release of Let Nature Take Its Course, I'll be hopefully firing on all cylinders. I'm not going to say it's a good thing, but what I am going to say is it obviously affected my engagement with these people, and it was like, you know what, I can't be bothered. And maybe that was for the better, because what you don't want to do is start egging on the trolls. On one hand, engagement is great on social media, and you want that, but at the same time, you don't want to like have these doom loops of negativity going on. It makes me look bad, right? It makes it reflects poorly on the content. It makes it look like engagement bait, and none of those things are intentional. None of those things are what my brand stands for, if that makes sense. And I remember having a conversation with someone one time where they said, one thing I really love about your content and how you come across is you engage with these people with grace. You're always very open. I remember one time I literally had a hate message. This was a long time ago, right? A good couple of months ago. Someone just basically, what was it? It's like, I remember the opening line was, "Mate, you're dog shit." And I think he said, like, basically everyone's taking the piss. I think that's how he phrased it. And I wrote this, I made a video about it. I literally said, you know what, this is incredibly insulting. But then I actually went on to question, like, where this came from. Like, this guy must feel pretty lousy about himself if he's messaging me, like, wanting to bring out this animosity or whatever it is. The exact specifics I don't remember, but I just remember a few people praised the graciousness of that video. I wasn't coming in like, oh no, screw you, you're a loser, but it was like taking a very nuanced approach to it, kind of questioning it, asking how was I responsible for what happened. And I think with the Irish Famine, initially I was up for it. I was ready for these negative comments. But what you don't want to do is start being confrontational for the sake of it. Like I said, it's super important that I stand by my art. But also, I also don't want to create animosity for the sake of it. And it's been a really important lesson, actually. Like, it's really good that I've got to a place now of this rock-solid confidence. Both in my art and that what I'm doing is good. And that is positive. And these haters can go screw themselves. But, you know, at the same time, like, you don't want to be overly confrontational. You don't want to get all up in these guys, and it's not gonna reflect well on me. It's not gonna be good for my mental health. It's so important to react to these people with openness and graciousness, and just throughout the entire process, be the best version of myself, because ultimately that's what I want to stand for. I want to stand for being a good moral person, and so it's really important that I hold myself to a high standard. I mentioned this whole thing of Partridge, you'll bounce back, and I also want to acknowledge some real positive things that have happened in the last month. I had a completely different context. There was this guy basically trolling my account. He put this comment, like disparaging comment, where he compared me to this band from Brighton named the Hangleton 5. So I watched some of their content, and it's quite cheesy. But in like a really fun, like, jovial way. Like, I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and I just doubled down on it. I was like, posted one of their reels onto my story, and I was like, some guy's trying to insult me by comparing me to this band, but these guys are fun and they don't take themselves too seriously, and I think I've now become a fan. Anyway, we had a brief chat on social media. I said, look, I'm sorry for the hater, you know, I love what you guys are doing. A couple of weeks ago, they DM'd me saying, hey, we've got a gig coming up in Brighton, do you want to support us? It's like, hell yeah! I've been trying to get a gig in Brighton for ages. Like, yes! I also had this band named The Harbours reach out to me, right? Again, completely unrelated to the Irish Famine. They were just like, mate, we love your stuff. We love your song, The Writing on the Wall. We're playing a gig in London. Do you want to be on the guest list, right? Do you want to come to the gig, like free entry? And I'm like, yeah, why not? I was able to come. And I really enjoyed the gig, and I met these guys in person, and they were awesome. They were really nice guys. I won't go into too much detail, but I literally this morning heard a voice note from another band with a similar kind of thing, like, you know, guest list to a gig. I don't know if it'll work out or not, but it's awesome. June, it looks like I'm going to have a few gigs now. Hopefully a local one in Tunbridge Wells, one in Brighton, and then one in London. So that's really awesome. I need to play more and more gigs. And yeah, so yes, I had something of a PR nightmare around the Irish Famine. And even I can acknowledge maybe there were certain things I could have dealt with better. But at the end of the day, things are going really well. I think a lot of people are seeing me for the way that I am portraying myself. They're seeing me as someone with a lot of positivity, a lot of grace, and they're like, yeah, we want to support this guy, we want to help him on this journey. And that's what you want as an up-and-coming musician, or as an aspiring songwriter, however you want to phrase it. The journey I am on continues to be beautiful. It's becoming more and more rich with opportunity. I'm still loving it, to be honest with you guys. And I'm excited for the month of May. Let Nature Take Its Course will be the 5th and final song for the EP. If you buy a CD, you may find a surprise in there, and that's all I'm going to say. I don't know what's going to happen with Let Nature Take Its Course. It's a very obscure request. The video itself didn't do that well. I expect this to be like the Sycamore Gap situation. And again, right now I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to promote it. But hopefully I'll figure out something that, let's face it, is somewhat clickbaity and, you know, grabs the algorithm, but at the same time isn't gonna piss people off. You know what I mean? Like, and hopefully I'll thread a finer line with that one. As I said, the official release of the EP is the 14th. I mentioned there was something very big that happened in my personal life. I've got something quite large happening the same day, which is Sod's Law. You can never control these things. But hopefully by then all my content will be ready, and assuming I manage to sort out selling some of these online, I can get all of them posted and sorted before then. And then I can focus on what I need to focus in my personal life on that specific day. 14th of May. Yeah. Hopefully things will go well on all that front. I hope you guys are excited for the EP. I'm really excited for you guys to hear it. And I look forward to posting it as a whole EP, as a whole album, if you like. And it'd be really interesting to hear what people have to say about it. Like if people do have opinions on the songs, on the production, on how the EP flows. I think the CDs look really professional. I'm really impressed with how these have come out. And yeah, best of luck for the month of May. Take on all the lessons that I've learnt throughout April and hopefully just keep pushing on to bigger and bigger things. I can see the time on the camera. I'm aware this is a long video. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope it's been informative. And I very much look forward to seeing you in another video.